And I don't care how hard I gotta suffer. I don't care how hard I feel like I just want to quit. Like.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with an update from Andrew Jagged. So I do not remember Andrew's face looking so sunken in during any of his previous preps. So the man has been posting very little and he has been talking the least out of all the guys who are in that potential first call out. But you bet he has been putting in a lot of work and all the effort in the gym to make sure that he moves up those Olympia ranks. So first it was Kamal, the former 212 Olympia champion, and now it is Jose Raymond, who has some first-hand information on how Andrew is looking right now, about 1 week out from the biggest show of the year. And he also claimed that the best of Andrew is coming to this year's Mr. Olympia, unless something goes terribly wrong during the final few days of the peaking. So we will see how this goes for him and how he shows up. But can we all agree that Andrew Jagged is so gifted that if he brings a perfect combination of fullness and condition, and when we talk about that, we always refer to his Texas Pro look from last year, because that was arguably his best onstage look that we have ever seen from him so far. So what if Andrew Jagged shows up with that same combination, with dugout hamstrings and the glutes? That will be one deadly package that could place a lot higher than top 6 and what many people are expecting from him. So the reason why Andrew is being overlooked is because Andrew has a big question mark in regards to his consistency. But this time he had a fairly long off season, and that started after winning the FIBA Germany this year. And this time he also had a totally different training protocol, a different training setup for this year's Olympia prep. So this can be a game changer for Andrew Jagged. And it is kind of surprising to see one of the greatest gifted athlete of this bodybuilding era not being mentioned as a potential top 4 Olympia contender. Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am.
I think conditioning, I think of old school. I'm gonna show my job is to show up skinless,
Yep.
dry, grainy, full.
Yeah.
That's my mindset. And that to me, I just think 90s.
Yep. Dorian.
Yeah, dude.
That Dorian look. Yep.
And I don't care how hard I gotta suffer. I don't care how hard I feel like I just want to quit. Like, I love this shit.
Next up, we have an update from the mutant Nick Walker. So skinless is the word that Nick Walker used to describe what his conditioning is gonna be like come Olympia this year. So he looks very confident, and some even say overconfident, when he claims that he's gonna beat the reigning Olympia champion Samson Dauda. No matter how Samson Dauda shows up, he believes he's gonna overpower all of them with his insane freak factor and muscularity. But many experts agree that the stars have to be aligned perfectly for the mutant in order for him to be crowned Mr. Olympia champion. And the other major question in regards to Nick Walker is that, do the judges and the IFBB, they even like Nick's physique to be the best in the world, to be the biggest representation of Mr. Olympia, to be the biggest representative of bodybuilding? As a guy like Liheni, a legend, an 8 times Mr. Olympia champion, who clearly said that he just doesn't see a physique like the mutant to be the best in the world who can represent Mr. Olympia title. And if we think about this, why did the judges ruled in the favor of Derek Lunsford at the Pittsburgh Pro, even though Derek was off and the mutant, he was at his all-time best? That was the same scenario. So in an ideal case, where everybody shows up at their 100%, then why will the judges rule in favor of the mutant when there are more balanced physiques, more aesthetic, more streamlined physiques? Although I do know the chances of that happening, everybody showing up at their 100%, they are almost zero. Now you have got to admit that Nick's physique, that is gonna be the most different one in that first Olympia call out, as he's the odd man out, the guy who represents mass monsters, freakiness. So where did you guys have Nick Walker landing at the Olympia this year if he shows up at his 100%? Another day, another crazy update from one of the most anticipated Olympia debuts that is gonna happen this week. Good Vito. So Vito for surely is gonna have some of the best squads in this year's Men's Open Olympia lineup. He has a physique to shock a lot of people in just 1 week time. So the thing is, the man has been untested against all of those guys in that second Olympia call out. And you have to consider the fact that he hasn't competed since the Arnold Brazil this year, which was scheduled in the initial phase of the year, if I'm not mistaken, back in April. Now Vito did not have an ideal full-fledged off-season because he was supposed to compete at the Pittsburgh Pro this year, and then he had to wait another 4 to 6 weeks for his lat to heal to fully fix before he started his off-season. But that being said, he's a young guy who is improving extremely fast, and he has made some noticeable improvements in his side shots, in his back shots, and the side shots were the biggest weakness in the physique that we saw from him earlier this year at the Arnold Brazil. Plus, they did not have to go all out, especially in terms of conditioning for that show, because the depth of the lineup at that show, that just simply wasn't that deep, and Vito was gonna win that show anyway, and that he did. So good Vito on the Olympia stage in just under 1 week time. That is something that we are all really looking forward to watch. Now size is such a big factor at a big stage like the Olympia. You just cannot simply be peeled enough, ripped enough, and expect to place top 10 if you lack the size. And the biggest advantage that Good Vito has over some of these other guys striving for a top 10 finish, that is his ability to be very wide and take up some unbelievable space on the stage. And that is something which is gonna go massively in his favor. Next up, we have a 7 days out physique update from Sazan Hiati. So there will be 3 Persians on the Olympia stage this time, and Sazan is also one of them. So he earned his right to walk on the Olympia stage by winning not just 1 but 2 shows back to back, Toronto Pro and Spain Pro. So throughout his career, Sazan got the criticism that his legs are too big for his upper half. Well, since winning the Emperor Classic Spain this year, him and his coach Chris Aceto, they totally changed their strategy for this year's Mr. Olympia. Sazan ate a lot of food during this entire prep, and based on this progress update and the one that he posted a few days back, this is the most balanced Sazan and his physique has ever looked throughout his career. Just like Hadi and Behrouz Tabani, Sazan has those crazy Iranian, those Persian genetics, which allow him to get super dry and come in absolutely ripped to the bone. And I don't think there will be any compromise in terms of conditioning for his Olympia debut. So he also mentioned that he's looking to place top 10, and from the front and side, he will be combative enough. It will all come down to how improved his back shots are gonna be, especially in terms of size and the width, because he did lose both these shots to both the guys who placed second behind him at Toronto Pro and Spain Pro, namely Regan Grimes and Angel Calderon. Next up, we have an update from Nile Darwin. So there is that first warning to Olympia top 5 from Niall. Last year at the Olympia, he was a rookie. This year, it's a whole different story, meaning he's gonna solidify himself as the first Olympia call-out guy. And just by the way he's looking right now in all of these updates, there was always a discussion of him showing up with bigger and better back, and you bet that's coming. Now from the front as well as from the side, he has all the tools to be the best in the world, to be in the first call out and place top 6 at the very least. The structure is truly classic, and he has that dugout conditioning every time he steps on the stage. So from last year to this year, Niall has been one of the most improved classic physique pro, and he could have done Texas Pro this year and he would have won another pro show, but he decided to make some improvements for the Olympia this year. And that is why Niall went back to the drawing board to make sure that every week counts and he puts in the work day in and day out. So he's gonna be the one guy with the smallest waistline on this year's Olympia stage, especially in that first call out. And he has pretty much filled out his entire structure, his frame. So do you guys see Niall as the guy who could potentially fight for the Olympia title sometime in the future? So hit the thumbs up button if you like the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.